know this woman. She had a baby when she was a teenager. She's kept it secret for 50 years.
You're talking about a human interest story, and I don't do those.
Why not?
It is an astonishing story. But it's not what is good is it's not a miserable film. It's a very cheerful film because the two of them are such extraordinary characters. On the one hand, there's this terrible tragedy, and on the other hand, there are these jokes. So you're really doing tragedy and comedy at the same time. I always found that interesting. I could see right from the beginning that there was a sort of romantic comedy in there, or a film, a sort of odd couple film, whatever. And then underneath it all was this ghastly business that had happened 50 years ago.
My guess is that Anthony was adopted and sent to America.
I think I would like to go.
In a way, the story of the Magdalene laundries is known. What was original about this was, I don't know how Steve did it. He bought the book without having read it, and then he moved the story from the story that's in the book to the story that's in the film. So it became a story about, amongst other things, his own lapsed Catholicism. And I don't know how he did that. That seems to me that's sort of genius. You could have made a film of the book, but it would have been Martin Smith was much more interested in what happened to the child when he went to America. But Steve moved it in some way. I don't even know if he was conscious of what he was doing. But it's very, very different. So when I read the book, which I eventually did, I was quite sort of shocked. Or I could see that was where the whole thing had come from. In the end, it's interesting. It's the relationship between the two of them that makes you cry.
What if he died in Vietnam, or lived on the street? Or what if he was obese?
What on earth makes you think he'd be obese?
Because of the size of the portions.
You just think this great actress, she's like a sort of diamond that all we're doing is polishing it. She's so valuable, and it's extraordinary. It must have been like that making films with Clark Gable or something. You had this very, very valuable asset, and you're really refining the edges. And she's such a wonderful woman and so talented. But Steve is great. No, Steve, I just really know the work I've done with him on this film, and it's been very, very interesting. He's very, very bright, and he's very original, and he has he has a moral sense, so I take my hat off to him.
I had a hip replacement last year, Martin. Titanium, so it won't rust.
Otherwise I'd have to oil you like the Tin Man.
Is that right?
Oh, no.
He's just joking, Mum.
Oh.
It's a film of optimism because the two of them are so cheerful, and cheerful's the wrong word. The two of them are so wonderful, and they're so touching, and they're so fond of each other. So it's not, given that it's based on a tragedy, it's a remarkably cheerful film.
Not to use my real name when you write the story. What about Anne Boleyn? That's a lovely name. Well, somebody had that.
We're going to have to use your real name, Philomena.